My Vyvgart Hytrulo self-injection.
Reducing my symptoms.
That's treatment my way. Ask your neurologist about Vyvgart Hytrulo.
I'm Jamie, founder of Ring. Our latest invention, retinal vision. AI tuning delivers ultimate clarity for unmatched security. Protect your home like I do with retinal vision on new 4K cameras and doorbells from Ring. Shop now at ring.com.
If you're living with HIV, imagine being good to go without daily HIV pills. Good to go off the grid. Good to go nonstop. With Cabenuva, there's no pausing for daily HIV pills. For adults who are undetectable, Cabenuva is the only complete, long-acting HIV treatment you can get every other month. It's 2 injections from a healthcare provider, as few as 6 times a year. Don't take Cabenuva if allergic to its ingredients or taking certain medicines that may interact. Serious side effects include allergic reactions or rash, post-injection reactions, liver problems, and depression. If these occur, get medical help right away. Tell your doctor about your medicines or supplements, medical conditions, liver or kidney problems, mental health, pregnancy, and breastfeeding. The most common side effect is injection site reaction. With Cabenuva, you're good to go without daily HIV pills. Talk to your doctor about switching.
Is your body sending you an SOS? If you have high blood pressure or type 2 diabetes, your kidneys could be warning you about increased risks like heart attack or stroke. Don't miss the hidden signal. Ask your doctor about a UACR urine test.
I've always struggled with kitchen gadgets, but this Kitchen HQ One Touch can opener completely changed the game. Just one touch and then you're done. Plus, there's no sharp edges, so you don't have to struggle anymore. For only $21.95, you can get it right now. So scan that QR code on the left side of your screen or call the HSN number. This reliable tool is now a forever staple in my home. Be sure to call the number listed on the side of your screen or use that QR code to order this Kitchen HQ One Touch can opener online, only with HSN.
I can't find the game.
Xfinity has all the best live and streaming games in one place. All you got to do is speak it into the remote.
Houston Rockets.
See? Magic.
Pepperoni pizza and Reggie Miller.
Oh, brick oven, extra cheese. And you could bring up Indiana Pacer stats.
What are you going to do next? Walk on water? When they have all the odds right there.
I'll be watching the game poolside. Marco, Polo. Is that my swimsuit? It's like a glove. Stays in great shape.
I love it here. Anthony Bourdain, Parts Unknown Crime Cuts, now streaming exclusively on the CNN app.
Few filmmakers have shaped America's understanding of itself more profoundly than Ken Burns. For decades, he's brought the nation's past to life with rigor, immediacy, and a unique visual style, covering everything from the Civil War to baseball and jazz. And now, as the U.S. prepares to celebrate its 250th anniversary next year, Burns has turned to the moment that launched this country's democratic experiment, the American Revolution. I spoke with him about his new PBS series, which illuminates the bloody rebellion that sparked independence movements across the world. Ken Burns, welcome.
Thank you, Fareed.
So as with everything you do, this is just spectacular, and it's so well done, given that you don't have footage, you don't have all the usual props that help make this thing work. I love the way you focus in the very first episode on the international dimension, and on particular one of the original irritants that turns into that builds the snowball of the American Revolution is that the colonists were enraged when Britain tried to kind of make a peace deal, saying, west of the Alleghenies, you can't just have people going in and snatching land from Native Americans. You can't do that. And that would have stopped the westward expansion, and this enraged the colonists.
That's exactly right. And in fact, it's even more complicated than that. Britain has won what we call the French and Indian War, but the rest of the world knows as the 7 Years' War, essentially driving France out of North America completely and limiting Spanish holdings to Louisiana, and they're basically getting Florida. But be careful what you wish for. They're now the most far-flung empire on earth. Their treasuries depleted. They have no way to defend those settlers that want to pour over the Allegheny into that Native American land. And so they look, at least to some Native American nations, as a stopgap against those colonists. And in 1763, they put a line down through the Allegheny saying you can't go over that, which enrages not only individual folks who for the first time are going to own land in their lifetime. They've maybe been dependent farmers in Ireland or Scotland or Wales or England for 1,000 years, but this is going to be something new for them. And it enrages the big land speculators like Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Jefferson and George Washington, who are dealing in tens of thousands of acres. So you have a snowball rolling down the hill for sure that's going to finally, in the Boston Massacre and the Tea Party, and then obviously Lexington and Concord, set this extraordinary world war in motion and create the United States of America.
Yeah, you point out that Washington, who was, gotten into the land business, was particularly personally offended by, enraged by this British idea of no further westward expansion. And he tells his agent, go and buy as much land in the West as you can. So he sort of had a personal interest, and he gets at one of the things that you do so well, which is you present these people like Washington as three-dimensional characters. Washington makes a lot of mistakes. He is selfish, he's venal, he treats his slaves sometimes badly. And yet you say the simple fact is no George Washington, no American Revolution.
George Washington is extraordinary. First of all, as you said, it's absolutely right. He is an owner of other human beings. He's rash on the battlefield. He makes 2 or 3 significant strategic blunders, but we don't have a country without him. He's able to inspire men in the dark of night. He's able to pick subordinate talent without fear of them overshadowing them. Some of them are better generals than him. He's able to defer to Congress. He's able to convince people from Georgia and New Hampshire that they're not from separate countries as they believe, but Americans, this new one thing. And most of all, he's willing to cede his power, first in giving up his military commission in 1783, and then after 2 terms of president, giving up the presidency, which sets in motion this American narrative and helps keep the fragile coalition together, particularly in the early decades. But it is, without a doubt, you can say this perhaps in a secondary fashion about Benjamin Franklin for securing the aid from France. Without George Washington, we don't have a country. No him, no us.
Was it seen internationally as what we romanticize it as, which is the great break with kings and courts, a genuine democracy and the first of its kind?
Yeah, I think it's fair to say our revolution inspires revolutions that take place for 200 years in Europe and Central and South America and Asia and Africa. In fact, when Ho Chi Minh declares Vietnamese independence on the same day the Japanese are surrendering in Tokyo Bay, September 2nd, 1945, he's quoting Thomas Jefferson. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. This is a revolution with legs, and I think particularly in our divided times, it offers us an opportunity, Fareed, to go back to our origin story and sort of re-examine and reacquire these extraordinarily inspirational ideas at the heart of who we are. A few sentences after the pursuit of happiness sentence in the Declaration, Jefferson says, all experience has shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable. He's saying that heretofore, everybody's been a subject under authoritarian rule, and we're creating something else that will take a little bit of extra energy. It'll take a lifetime of learning. That's the pursuit of happiness to them, not the acquisition of wealth. It's lifelong learning so that you would acquire virtue. And so I hope that in some ways, if anything comes out of revisiting the revolution, that we get to sort of reacquire and re-energize our own founding ideals. with the complexities of the present moment. People are very much narcissistic, always in the present. Our times are the worst. Chicken Little, the sky is falling. But in fact, we were way more divided during our revolution, way more divided, obviously, and in our civil war during the Vietnam period. And it takes, I think, only the perspective that the great teacher history provides for us to have that ability to see things in perspective and what they really signify.
Ken Burns, a pleasure to have you on, sir. You can catch Burns' American Revolution series on the PBS app or on your local PBS station. Next up, what moment in American history is the Trump era most reminiscent of? I'll ask the celebrated Yale historian Beverly Gage when we come back.
The holiday season is here, and CNN Underscored is your VIP pass to unique gifts at the best prices.
All right, Jillian, how do they feel? Yeah, they're really comfortable.
Shop holiday gifting now at underscored.com.
You're looking at Carvana's newest and proudest customer. So proud that we're teaming up to create Shackvana.
We are? We are.
Shackvana will be 100% online so customers can shop from anywhere.
That's so Shackvana.
About time you caught up. On Shackvana.com, customers can shop tens of thousands of vehicles.
Love it.
And they'll get 7 days to love their ride or their money back. Visit Shackvana or Carvana and buy your car today.
Hello, friends. Joe Morton here. Lately, like a lot of you, I'm asking myself, what is going on in our country? Attacks on diversity, equity, and inclusion, attempts to erase our history, American history. This is truly a scandal. It's wrong. And I, for one, am determined to fight back. That's why I support the NAACP and why I'm asking you to join me today. Please call or go online to keepadvancing.org right now. For $19 a month, only 63 cents a day, you can become an NAACP champion for change. The NAACP has been fighting to build a brighter future for Black families and communities for over 100 years. We've made so much progress towards equity, and now we seem to be turning back the clock. We need you now more than ever. When you join me as a champion for change, you'll be on the front lines pushing back against those who would strip away our rights and freedoms. Healthcare for our communities, security for our elders, support for veterans, education for our children. If you want to fight back and advance the cause of equity and opportunity for Black communities, please call the number on your screen or go online to donate monthly. When you give by credit card, we'll send you this exclusive t-shirt to show you are a champion for change, fighting for civil rights and social justice. This is a turning point in history. What you do now can make a difference in the tomorrow we leave to our children. So please, donate monthly now. Call or go to keepadvancing.org today. Let's fight back for community, opportunity, and the chance to thrive together.
Did you take your vitamin today?
That's my job.
Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist recommended vitamin and supplement brand.
I like things personalized, like my coffee. So when my doctor prescribed Vyvgart Hytrulo self-injection for my generalized myasthenia gravis, we personalized my treatment goals. Vyvgart Hytrulo can improve daily abilities and reduce muscle weakness.
It's my treatment, my way.
Vyvgart Hytrulo for weekend away Steve.
It's travel ready and can go where I go.
Self-injection fits my plans.
Do not use Vyvgart Hytrulo if you're allergic to its ingredients. It may increase infection risk and cause serious allergic or infusion or injection-related reactions. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, fever, recent or planned vaccinations, allergy history, or kidney problems. Most common side effects include respiratory and urinary tract infections, headache, and injection site reactions.
My Vyvgart Hytrulo self-injection.
Reducing my symptoms.
That's treatment my way. Ask your neurologist about Vyvgart Hytrulo.
Cough. Mucus levels are high today, huh?
Not today. I got Mucinex 12 hour.
Mucinex 12-hour works continuously to break up mucus and move it up and out. Rid the congestion, kill the cough.
Exhaustipated. When you're tired of your backed up gut and you need fast relief. Mirafast works naturally with your body in as little as 30 minutes. Mirafast acts faster, works gently.
This is CNN.
When surveying a litany of Donald Trump's excesses, his attacks on universities, the bureaucracy, free speech, to name a few, it's become customary to say that this moment in America is unprecedented. But in fact, Donald Trump's moves echo various moments in American history, moments that many considered gone for good. Joining me to discuss them is Beverly Gage. She is the John Lewis Gaddis Professor of History at Yale and the author of G-Man, J. Edgar Hoover and the Making of the American Century. Welcome, Beverly.
Great to be here.
So when you think of Donald Trump, what image comes first to mind for somebody like you who has the whole sweep of really the last 100 years in front of you as your field of specialty?
Well, the phrase "Make America Great Again" has always had this implied question. So when was America great? And so that's a game that I have played with myself over the last decade, trying to figure out what those resonances are. And I'd say one moment that really emerges is the Gilded Age, the late 19th, early 20th century, which was a period of crony capitalism and mass inequality and fast technological change. And it seems like there's a lot of romance and even a desire to go back to it in the current administration,
even with the tariffs and such. And is it fair to say that that was also a period where a lot of businessmen, like the sort of tech tycoons now, seemed very comfortable with a kind of insider wheeling dealing? They didn't want a kind of open, transparent playing field. They wanted to go into the Oval Office and make deals.
That's right. At the time, it was called the spoils system. And that was the idea that when you were in office, you brought all your buddies from the government, you gave jobs to your friends, and that's what you were there for. Mark Twain, who sort of named the Gilded Age, saw this as an example of the kind of falsity and the fakeness and the I'm just out for myself nature of American life in that time. But there was a big pushback against it too, right? People said, actually, we need to think about other mechanisms of government that can push back against this kind of private, take it all from me and my buddies. And that's where a lot of our government comes from, actually, is that impulse. So this is the birth of the civil service. This is the birth of the idea of the professional government service, where you were going to be serving the public good and not serving, the Republican Party or the Democratic Party or whoever was in power. And then there were a lot of other reforms that came in that moment, right? Direct election of senators, because they thought these state legislatures that were picking senators before they'd become too corrupt, the money that's flowing through them is destroying American democracy.
What about the way in which the administration is saying, if you say things we think are, hostile to the American way or whatever we think? So, for example, very anti-Israeli speech. We might deport you if you're a foreigner. We might defund you if you're in a university. That feels like it was the kind of thing happening in the 1950s. And of course, your last book was about J. Edgar Hoover, who did a lot of that stuff in the 1950s.
Yeah, as someone who's written a lot about J. Edgar Hoover, my antenna goes up every time we're talking about deportation for speech-related reasons, certain ideas and phrases that you're not allowed to say. That's all very resonant with the Red Scare. And I think you can feel that in the air.
Fair to say it was worse then, or is it difficult to make a comparison?
I think it's fair to say it was worse then, although one of the things that's interesting to compare the two is that in the 1940s and 50s, the peak of the Red Scare, this was the early Cold War. So you had a communist party in the United States that actually was, in some ways, in cahoots with the Soviet Union. You really had spies here, and you had this huge global rivalry going on. And so you had these big things that are driving the politics of that moment. And what's funny about ours is that we still have the anti-communism. Trump loves to talk about the Marxist lunatics in the universities, but we don't actually have the politics there anymore. It's just this kind of resonant language.
There isn't really a giant communist threat out there.
Exactly.
Each of these ones you talked about, the Gilded Age, even in its own way, obviously the Jazz Age, then comes the 30s, they provoke a reaction. They provoke the civil service reforms, the Progressive Era, the Jazz Age produces FDR. Do you think it's sure that this will all produce a reaction? Because what I'm struck by is, so far we're still very divided.
One of the things that really strikes me and that alarms me a little bit is that during these earlier periods, you saw lots of energy and lots of hope that, sure, this big thing has changed in American society, but we can take hold of it. We can actually make a future that's better than the past. That's the whole ethos of the progressive era, right? We're going to have progress in the future. And I unfortunately think we've lost a little bit of that in our politics, that there are a lot of people who are feeling much more hopeless, that the future is actually going to be worse than the past. And that seems like a dangerous and not great place to be.
The other historical resonance that people often bring up, particularly political scientists, when studying polarization and partisanship, as they say, we are as divided as we were right after the Civil War. It seems like the 1870s and 80s were the height of partisanship, and we've now come to those. What was it about that era that was so partisan, and how did it get resolved?
Well, it was partly that people were still fighting out the Civil War, right? But doing it through politics rather than through actual warfare. Although it's also worth noting that was a period of incredible political violence in a lot of ways, partly because you had such ferocious divisions, such close elections. How did it change? Well, I think some of it was these reforms of the progressive era, and some of it is just that new crises come along, and then everything gets flipped in the air, and you figure out what comes next. So there's Great Depression, World War I, right? All of those things. So history does not stand still.
So, in a weird way, what we have to hope for, in a sense, is a huge crisis, which will make the partisanship pale in comparison.
It does sound like that's, not a great scenario, but I think that it's true, right? That these moments that feel really permanent often change much faster than people can imagine.
All right, stay tuned. If one of them comes, we might have to get you back.
That sounds great.
Beverly Gage, pleasure. Thank you. Next on GPS, we've spent much of this hour examining democracy in America. Next, we'll examine democracy abroad, particularly in Eastern Europe, where the lure of the strong man now runs deep. When we come back.
Weeknights on CNN.
Tonight on 360.
The stories that matter.
This whole area is just engulfed in flames.
From a trusted voice. Anderson Cooper 360. Weeknights at 8 on CNN.
I never thought this would happen.
We got you.
Call the team with the speed and precision hospitals trust to keep them safely operating through the unexpected. Serve Pro, like it never even happened.
I have active psoriatic arthritis, but with Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready for this moment. Along with clearer skin, Skyrizi helps me move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. And it's just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and TB. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
There's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi today. Learn how AbbVie could help you save.
This is my mother, Tracy Banks. She just gushes about me to everyone.
I want everybody to know what an awesome guy you are.
This is what I want to keep. I want to be able to spend time with my mom, which is why it's time to start thinking about senior care. And I don't want the process to get in the way.
I had a really bad fall, and it was traumatic. But he showed right up. He just was so wonderful.
That's why I'm so happy we found a place for mom. They provide personalized support that makes it easier to search for senior care options in our area. It's got to be right for my mom.
I know he's going to take care of me. Did I tell you he's a genius? And in 8th grade, oh my gosh,
Are you ready to connect to a perfect journey with Turkish Airlines? To feel welcomed and to feel refreshed. To discover unforgettable flavors. To reach new heights of happiness. To connect to a journey that's perfect because of you.
Can you believe this, man?
Everyone's getting that new Simply Safe outdoor monitoring. Now they can help prevent crime before it even happens.
How do we compete with AI-powered outdoor cameras that alert live agents of an intruder?
Stop. This is Simply Safe. Police are on the way.
Whoa, I didn't even see those guys.
So what about us now?
I'm pretty adorable. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
What could you do with your day if you could treat at home? Ask your doctor about Vyvgart Hytrulo pre-filled for self-injection.
This week on Neutrogena Remembers.
Marry me.